Are you being manipulated without realizing it? Gaslighting, guilt tripping, and mind games. These tactics are everywhere and they could be controlling you right now. In this video, I'm exposing the sneaky psychological tricks manipulators use to warp your reality, break your confidence, and keep you under their control. If you've ever felt drained, confused, or second guessed your own sanity after dealing with someone, you need to watch this. Let's dive in. So, what are the 10 emotional manipulation tactics, and how do you understand manipulation? So, we are basically talking about 10 emotional manipulation tactics in this video and how to understand manipulation. Let me start by saying that emotional manipulation is a covert and often destructive form of psychological influence used to control, deceive, or exploit others. Manipulators use subtle tactics to distort reality, undermine confidence, and gain power over their targets. Recognizing these tactics is crucial for maintaining healthy relationships and safeguarding your mental well-being. And so quickly, let me talk about the 10 emotional manipulation tactics. I start with gaslighting. Number one, gaslighting. Gaslighting is a psychological tactic that makes the victim question their perceptions, memory, and sanity. The manipulator denies facts, distorts events, and invalidates feelings to create confusion and self-doubt. And let me give you an example. That never happened. You are imagining things. Yet another example is you are overreacting. Stop being so sensitive. Yet another example is you are remembering it all wrong. So how do you protect yourself? Keep records of conversations and events. Keep records of conversations and events. The second way to protect yourself is trust your own judgment and instincts. Trust your own judgment and instincts. And last but not the least way to protect yourself is distance yourself from people who consistently make you doubt reality. Distance yourself from people who consistently make you doubt reality. So what is the second emotional manipulation tactic that I want to talk about? Guilt tripping. Now, guilt tripping involves making someone feel guilty to control their behavior. The manipulator plays the victim, exaggerates their suffering, or implies that the victim is responsible for their unhappiness. Can you just imagine that? How can somebody else be responsible for somebody else's unhappiness? But that is what the manipulator does. And examples are, after all I've done for you, this is how you treat me. Yet another example is, if you really loved me, you will do this for me. And last but not the least example of guilt tripping is, I guess I'm just not important to you anymore. So how do you protect yourself? Recognize when guilt is being used as a tool for control. Recognize when guilt is being used as a tool for control. Second way to protect yourself, set firm emotional boundaries. Set firm emotional boundaries. And last but not the least way to protect yourself is refuse to take responsibility for the emotions of another person. That is none of your business. And so refuse to take responsibility for someone else's emotions. Now, the third emotional tactic I want to talk about is the silent treatment. And basically, the silent treatment is when a manipulator ignores or withdraws from someone to punish them, create insecurity, or gain control. This tactic forces the victim to chase after the manipulator for validation. And examples include ignoring texts or calls for days without explanation. Yet another example is refusing to acknowledge someone's presence. Yet another example is withholding affection or conversation until they get their way. So how do you protect yourself? Don't beg for attention. Recognize it as a power move. Secondly, set boundaries on how you expect to be treated. Thirdly, address the issue directly and walk away if they continue ignoring you. So what is the fourth emotional manipulation tactic? Playing the victim. That is the fourth one. Playing the victim. Manipulators often portray themselves as helpless or suffering to avoid responsibility and gain sympathy. They use self-pity to manipulate others into doing things for them or excusing bad behavior. And so examples include, I'm always the one who gets hurt. Why does this always happen to me? Yet another example is, no one understands how hard my life is. Yet another example is, I was just trying to help and now you are blaming me. So how do you protect yourself? Separate genuine distress from manipulation. Know the difference between genuine distress and manipulation and separate them. Secondly, don't allow guilt to force you into doing things against your will. That's the second way to protect yourself. Don't allow guilt to force you into doing things against your will. And the third way to protect yourself is encourage problem solving rather than enabling victimhood. Encourage problem solving rather than enabling victimhood. So what is the fifth emotional manipulation tactic? Love bombing and devaluation. Love bombing and devaluation. And what is that? Love bombing is an intense display of affection, attention, and flattery to quickly gain trust. Once the victim is emotionally invested, the manipulator begins to withdraw and devalue them. And so basically, when someone meets someone, probably in a romantic relationship in the first 6 months or thereabouts, he will love bomb the partner. Flowers in the afternoon, lunch in the afternoon, text all through the night, just giving them attention. Much later, begins to withdraw and devalue them. Examples include, you are the most amazing person I've ever met. That is very early in the relationship. You will hear something like that very early in the relationship. You are the most amazing person I've ever met. But later in the relationship, you are not as special as I thought. You are not as special as I thought. And then they begin to alternate between excessive praise and harsh criticism. Today they are praising, tomorrow there is a harsh criticism waiting for the romantic partner, or if it is you too. How do you then protect yourself? How to protect yourself? Be cautious of people who move too fast in relationships. There are some people who are very fast moving in relationships. Be very cautious of such people. Relationships are meant to take time, and so when someone is in a relationship and moving too fast, beware of such a person. Second way to protect yourself is pay attention to inconsistencies in behavior. Don't close your eyes to inconsistencies in behavior. Open your eye and see what is happening in the relationship. And when there are inconsistencies, you call it out. And third way to protect yourself is maintain independence and self-worth outside of validation from others. Maintain your independence and your self-worth outside of validation from others. What's the sixth emotional manipulation tactic? Triangulation. Triangulation. So what is triangulation? Basically, triangulation is when a manipulator brings a third person into a conflict to create jealousy, insecurity, or competition. So they may compare you to others or use outsiders to gang up on you. And examples include, why can't you be more like someone else? They will mention a name. Why can't you be more like someone else? The second example is, everyone agrees with me that you are overreacting. Everyone agrees with me that you are overreacting. The third example is flirting with others to make you feel insecure. Flirting with others to make you feel insecure. So how do you protect yourself? Recognize when someone is trying to create division. Recognize when someone is trying to create division. And avoid engaging in unnecessary comparisons or jealousy. Comparison is a trap. And so don't even go there. Avoid engaging in unnecessary comparisons or jealousy. And the third way to protect yourself is confront the manipulator directly rather than through a third party. Confront the manipulator directly rather than through a third party. Now, the seventh emotional manipulation tactic is projection. The seventh emotional manipulation tactic is projection. And projection is when a manipulator accuses you of the very things they are guilty of. Is when a manipulator accuses you of the very things they are guilty of. This diverts attention from their behavior and makes you feel defensive. And examples include a cheater accusing their partner of being unfaithful. Can you just imagine that? A cheater accusing their partner of being unfaithful. The second example is a liar accusing someone else of dishonesty. A liar accusing someone else of dishonesty. The third example is a manipulator calling you controlling. So how do you protect yourself? Stay calm and recognize projection when it happens. Stay calm and recognize projection when it happens. The second way to protect yourself is don't accept false accusations. The flaws and weaknesses of a manipulator are his or her own. Don't accept them. They are none of your business. And so don't accept false accusations. The third way to protect yourself is shift the focus back to their actual behavior. Shift the focus back to their actual behavior. So what is the eighth emotional manipulation tactic? That is what we call passive-aggressive behavior. And passive aggression is basically an indirect way of expressing hostility or resentment, often through sarcasm, procrastination, or backhanded compliments. And examples include, wow, I guess some people just don't care about others. I guess some people just don't care about others. Then yet another example is saying, I'm fine, while clearly upset. Saying I'm fine while clearly upset. And then the third example is deliberately ignoring requests or arriving late to make a point. Deliberately ignoring requests or arriving late to make a point. So how do you protect yourself? Call out passive aggressive behavior directly. Call it out. Don't even sugarcoat it. Call out passive aggressive behavior directly. Second way to protect yourself is set clear communication expectations. Set clear communication expectations. Third way to protect yourself is refuse to engage in games. Ask for honesty instead. So what is the ninth emotional manipulation tactic? Covert threats and ultimatums. Covert threats and ultimatums. Manipulators may use threats, whether subtle or direct, to control your decisions. These can include threats of leaving, withholding love, or even self-harm. Examples include, if you leave me, I don't know what I'll do to myself. Yet another example is, if you don't do this, don't expect me to stick around. Yet another example is, you will regret it if you go against me. So how do you protect yourself? Take threats seriously, but do not give in to emotional blackmail. Take threats seriously, but don't give in to emotional blackmail. Then secondly, seek support from trusted friends or professionals. Seek support from trusted friends or professionals. And thirdly, set firm boundaries and remove yourself from toxic situations. So what is the 10th emotional manipulation tactic? Excessive flattery and mirroring. Excessive flattery and mirroring. And some manipulators use excessive compliments and mimic your interests, values, and behavior to gain your trust. Once they've secured emotional control, their true motives emerge. Examples include, we are soulmates. We have everything in common. Yet another example is mirroring your opinions and preferences to seem like your perfect match. Yet another example is switching behavior drastically once they have control. So how do you protect yourself? Look for consistency over time rather than getting swept up in early flattery. Secondly, watch for drastic personality shifts once they gain trust. And thirdly, stay grounded in your own identity and values. So what are my final thoughts on this? Emotional manipulation can be subtle but highly damaging. Recognizing these tactics early can help you set boundaries, maintain self-respect, and avoid toxic relationships. Overall, I would say trust your instincts, prioritize emotional well-being, and surround yourself with people who communicate honestly and respect your autonomy. If you find yourself in a manipulative relationship, consider seeking professional support or talking to trusted friends to regain perspective and make empowered decisions. But overall, talk to the Holy Spirit to help you if you find yourself in a manipulative relationship. He helped me out and I know he will help you too. So let me know if you found this video helpful in the comments, and also share this video with a friend and subscribe to this channel for more valuable videos of this nature.